Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, Indiana football goes 10-0 for the first time in program history. We have all the sights and scenes from Indiana's win against the defending national champions.
And men's basketball opens up their regular season at home. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Victoria Rhemrev.
And I'm Sam Brunsman. How about them Hoosiers?
I
Number 5
know.
in the country, 10-0 overall for the first one in program history. It doesn't get better than this.
It's great for our senior year. Great way to go out. For the first time in program history, Indiana is 10-0. Our Thomas Crow has more on how the Hoosiers got there.
No football team in Indiana University history has ever won 10 games in a season, but today, Kurt Signetti and his team changed that. This team has moved to 10-0 with a 20-15 victory over the defending national champion, Michigan Wolverines.
You know, the Indiana Hoosiers are 10-0 and have a week off, and so does Coach Signetti's got a day off tomorrow.
Michigan got it out of the gates first with a field goal, but quickly ran into a flurry of scores from the Hoosiers as they held a 17-3 lead at the half. Quarterback Curtis Rourke threw both of his touchdowns in the first half to go alongside 17 of 28 passing and 206 yards. In the second half, Michigan scored 12 unanswered, with Rourke throwing an interception within Indiana's own 10-yard line and a James Evans short punt contributing to that. Down 5, with a minute 41 remaining in the fourth quarter, Davis Warren found Peyton O'Leary for 9 yards, but Indiana was able to stop him short of the first down, forcing a turnover on downs. Indiana was then able to run the clock off and secure now their 7th Big Ten win. The offense struggled, only gaining 18 yards in the second half, but the defense only allowed 112. Indiana's offense struggled on the ground today with only 72 positive rush yards, only gaining 3.4 yards per carry. Keyshawn Williams led the receivers with 70 yards, while Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper both scored. Quarterback Curtis Rourke said this about the offense postgame.
We were going against a really good defense, and so that first half we had to be near perfect. Made some good reads and some big catches, some big runs. In the second half, we just didn't go our way the second half.
It's strange to have the stadium as empty as it is now with the atmosphere that Coach Signetti talks about in his post-game press conference. It was deafening here in Memorial Stadium, and it was a big contributor to the Hoosiers' victory over the defending national champion Michigan Wolverines. Now a bye week next week before going to Columbus, Ohio to face Ohio State. IUSTV Sports will have you covered in that game. For now, in Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, I'm Thomas Crow.
The number 5 Hoosiers are on a bye this weekend before traveling east to Columbus, Ohio to take on the number 2 Buckeyes for their biggest test so far this season.
The Indiana men's soccer team faced a surprising early exit from the Big Ten tournament last week after a loss to Michigan. Michigan's Jason Buckner scored the lone goal in the 30th minute to secure the Wolverines' victory. The Hoosiers were unable to get anything going after that. Last Thursday's loss snapped Indiana's 7-game win streak and their 10-match unbeaten streak. But with roughly 2 weeks off, the Hoosiers will look to maintain focus and get ready for the NCAA tournament and see what seeding they'll receive.
The numbers will take care of itself. I think most importantly, if you look at what our team looked like the last 10 games, that's 100% a seeded team. Take the numbers out. That's how I look at it. And I think anyone that's watched us over that period of time would agree with that.
The NCAA selection show is on Monday, November 18th, and the Hoosiers will await their fate.
Indiana men's basketball took down Eastern Illinois in their second game of the season. Our Graham Nash has the recap.
The Indiana Hoosiers moved to 2-0 after a 90-55 victory over the Eastern Illinois Panthers.
I mean, we scored 90 points tonight. That's a lot of points in college basketball. We just got to stay positive with these cats and see where it leads us.
While the end result was desirable for Indiana, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows as the Hoosiers trailed 37-36 at the half.
Nobody expected that team to just come out and be up on us at halftime. So when we went back to the locker room, everybody was really locked in and like this should never happen.
I thought we were still home in the bed sleep. It was awful. I just thought our defense intensity was just lacking the first half, and we adjusted the second half and Guys came out and got after it and couldn't ask for a better second half.
Once again, it was Mackenzie Mbako leading the way for the Hoosiers. He backed up a team-best 31-point performance on opening night with a team-best 18-point performance against the Panthers.
He's really starting to extend his game a little bit. You know, he's been able to rebound the ball. Tonight he has some assists where he's pushed the ball and made the right plays. It's just nice to see his growth, you know, heading in the right direction, man. We just got to keep him there.
He's starting to dial in on the little things with the rebounding and you know, just getting in position on the defensive side and being able to play defense at a high clip too. So he's understanding the game way more than he was last year, and it's just helping us out a lot.
The Hoosiers will have nearly a full week of practice before they take on the University of South Carolina next Saturday in Assembly Hall. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Graham Nash.
The Hoosiers will take on their first Power 5 team of the season this Saturday against South Carolina. First tip is scheduled for 3 p.m. in Assembly Hall.
Coming up after the break, we crown this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week.
And volleyball struggles against ranked opponents at home. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Night.
Joining us in studio for this week's Hoosier Highlight is IUSTV sports reporter Henry Thuss. Henry?
Thanks, guys. An 18-point performance against Eastern Illinois leads to Mackenzie Mbako being this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week. Coming off of a 31-point performance in the Hoosier season opener on Wednesday, Mbako continued that momentum on Sunday against the Panthers, dropping 18 points alongside 7 rebounds and 4 assists. He shot an impressive 7 for 10 from the field and went 50% from 3. Now averaging 24.5 points on the year, he'll look to follow up his hot start to the season on Saturday when the South Carolina Gamecocks come to Assembly Hall. That's all for this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week. Back to y'all at the desk.
The Indiana field hockey team faced Big Ten rival Michigan in the opening round of the Big Ten tournament last weekend. Michigan took the lead early, but Indiana would tie it with 1 minute and 21 seconds left in regulation. Michigan ended up scoring in the 69th minute to end the game in overtime. The Hoosiers ultimately fell short 2-1 in overtime versus the number 3 ranked Wolverines. The Hoosiers finished their season 9-9, not making the cut for the NCAA tournament, ending their 2024-2025 season.
The Indiana women's volleyball team continues to push through a challenging Big Ten schedule, facing number 20 USC. Our Victoria Rhemrev has more.
The Indiana women's volleyball team took on top-ranked USC, hoping to secure their first win over a ranked opponent this season. The Hoosiers kept it close in the first set, tying at 24-24 thanks to Candela Alonso Corcelis. However, USC's sharp offensive attack, especially their tips, kept Indiana scrambling. USC took the set 26-24.
Felt very similar to how I felt against Purdue, where proud of the effort in ways, and then I thought it was a match that we could have won. So thought we played hard in game 1, made some errors, some key errors late.
Indiana came back strong in set 2, pulling together their best performance of the night. With their serves on fire, Indiana surged to a 25-16 win, taking control from the start.
What I like about the group right now is they're resilient. I thought after Purdue that was an emotional match, but I thought we came out and played really hard again. I think it's habits. I think it's playing hard, it's caring. Details are going to be the next thing, and the ability to make plays late in games.
In set 3, USC's tipping plays kept Indiana on their heels. The Hoosiers struggled to adjust, and USC pulled a 25-15 victory, flipping the momentum back in their favor.
They're real good at it. They train it a lot. It's fast and flat. We didn't do a great job defending it.
In the fourth set, the Hoosiers rallied with renewed energy, trading points with Southern California back and forth in a nail-biting finish. But USC came out on top once again, winning the set 26-24 to seal the overall match.
Trying to figure out how we can stop the bleeding a little bit on the other team's best players. You've got to be good enough where you can identify it and then make changes. And I thought at times we did some okay stuff, but clearly not enough.
With this loss, IU falls 0-8 against ranked opponents this season, though they remain competitive in the Big Ten. Candela Alonso Corcelis continues her streak with double-digit kills, and Cameron Hayworth made history with her aces.
The answer to disappointment is to get back in the gym and work, and the staff to go back to work. And I'm glad we're having these conversations now where you lose tough 4-set battles to top-ranked teams as opposed to hoping you can play with these teams.
Indiana will head to Lincoln to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers on Saturday.
Joining us now in studio with the Candy Stripe Calendar Report is IUSTV sports reporter Ethan Bonner. Ethan?
Thanks, guys. It's a quieter weekend in IU athletics, but let's get right into it. On Friday, the wrestling team will head to Mount Pleasant, Michigan for a date with Central Michigan. On Saturday, volleyball heads up to Lincoln for a big-time matchup at number 2 Nebraska. Football has a bye week, so all eyes will be on Mike Woodson's Hoosiers when they host South Carolina on Saturday. And to wrap things up on Sunday, the women's basketball team will host Stanford in a highly anticipated matchup. That's all for this week's Candy Stripe Calendar. I'm Ethan Bonner. Back to you guys at the desk.
And that's our show for the week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports to keep up with all the latest in IU athletics. For our production crew behind us, I'm Victoria Rhemrev.
And I'm Sam Brunsman. We'll see you next week.